Crime statistics revealed by Police Minister Bheki Cele this week show that there's been 7,000 murders from July to September alone this year. Indications are that murders are up by 13.6%, with most of them perpetrated in public. The homes of the victim or suspect were the second most common location. Joining us now to discuss how citizens can play a more active role in the protection of life and property is security expert Tau Nkomo. Tau, thanks so much for coming onto the show today.
Thank you, Hugo. Thank you.
Tau, I'm going to read an excerpt that I picked up about something. In fact, it was a detonation device that was used by the police yesterday, a stun grenade, to deal with the macro employees that were demonstrating allegedly peacefully. Now, it says the flash temporarily activates photoreceptor cells in the eye, blinding at a person for approximately 5 seconds. Afterward, victims perceive an after image which impairs their vision. The volume of detonation also causes temporary deafness in the victim. Now, this to me sounds like too much force, if you will, to deal with normal citizens. Under what circumstances would police normally be expected to use things like stun grenades and rubber bullets?
All right, thank you, Hugo. Unfortunately, I didn't watch that, and I'm not privy to the details. But what I can tell you is police are not really, allowed to use those explosives anyhow. It's only under extreme circumstances where, they've tried to use all, measures applicable, and it's not working, and the situation continues to get out of hand. So it's, at that point that they decide, you know what, their lives are also endangered, and it's time to use such. So such forceful measures are not to be used on a daily basis or anyhow, or any time they feel like doing so. But when it comes to extreme issue, that's when the push comes to shove, they can use such. Now,
the nation is still mourning DJ somebody who was shot in what many believe to have been a hit a few days ago. And one of his friends said he wanted the killers to be found, and he says no one can do this and get away with it. Now, what would the normal process be? Because there's so many hits, whether in politics or in business, that we run into, where the police come out and say, we are looking for the perpetrators, but the process of actually finding the perpetrators doesn't happen. How difficult is it to arrest a murderer in an instance where a hit has been carried out?
Hugo, firstly, let me say my sincere condolences to the family of DJ Sambod. It's not a good thing to lose life in such a manner. But when it comes to solving these, criminal cases, it takes a lot, Hugo. I don't want to sit here and blame the police for not doing their job. I think they're trying their best in as much as, criminal activities, murders, and everything is concerned. But I want to kind of blame the society. We are not doing much as a society. We live with the criminals. We know who the criminals are. In our communities, we know that next door stays a drug dealer, or, a few streets down the line, there's a gangster who stays there. But what are we doing? As a community, we need to be the eyes and ears of the police. Are we working with the police? Definitely not. So as a society, we've actually lost our morals, and we do not care about what happens to the next person. It's all about ourselves.
But the question I'd like to throw at you might almost be contrary to that, because if we look at the demise of Babita Deokaran, a whistleblower who I think almost a year ago was gunned down, and this is one of those individuals who was working the police and had come out and said, you know what, there are crimes that are being perpetrated. Are the police doing enough to safeguard whistleblowers? Is this what then leads to people not coming out and saying, hey, there's a drug dealer down the road? Is it not fear for their own lives?
That was a very unfortunate incident, and another life, lost. And again, I feel sorry for the family of Babita. But to some extent, the police are not well equipped. Technologically, they're way behind. Security companies even have better technology compared to subs. But when it comes to policing, when it comes to issues like that, very sensitive issues, unfortunately, on the other hand, we've got, some corrupt officials, some police officers, some rotten apples within the force. I'm not saying all of them, but some. So the police themselves, they are mandated to carry out these duties, and they know what's required of them. I would want to say the minister and the police, they are doing enough. It might not be good enough to such an extent to please everyone, but they are trying their best.
Okay. Now, my next question is obviously the crime stats have just been released by Police Minister Bheki Cele. Some of the things that we talked about, murders up by 13.6%. Now, we are approaching the holiday season, and a lot of people will be traveling, will go away on holiday and leave their homes unattended. Individuals during this period are more prone to acts of criminality. How does one safeguard their families? How do you safeguard yourself during this time where there's obviously going to be a hive of activity, particularly by criminals?
We're going into Christmas, the festive season, the silly season. Some call it the silly season because, people get carried away and get to engage in activities that they don't normally do. So a lot of people will be traveling. What I would advise people is to say, okay, if you've got an alarm system at your house, if you've got a CCTV system, please get it checked. See if it's functioning properly. If you are traveling, if need be, please leave somebody, at the house. Don't go like the whole family, leave the house unattended. Get someone to look after the house. But should the push come to shove that you and the whole family have to travel, please inform your security service provider. Let them know of the days that you are leaving and the return date. But at the same time, if you've got like your CCTV camera, get an external hard drive that you can travel with, so that should anything happen, you can be able to go back and see what happened. Also, ask your security service provider to link, your systems, your alarm and CCTV systems to your phone, so that you can be able to view from wherever you are. Another thing would be to inform your neighbors, but that's if you trust your neighbor, because you never know who can organize people to come and break into your house. It could be your neighbor.
Final question, Tau, before we let you go. We've seen numerous videos where individuals are attacked by criminals in broad daylight. What is your advice to the individual who wants to play hero? Do you go out and assist, or do you stand by and watch? I mean, the number of crimes that are recorded on people's camera phones is indicative that many people just stand by and watch.
Okay, firstly, Hugo, let me say it's very interesting that, like I said earlier on, that as a society we've lost our morals. Right now, another thing is technology has brought more harm than good to the people. So instead of assisting a person under attack, people would rather take out their phones and take videos and share with other people. We shouldn't be the norm. But another thing is, you want to play a hero, you want to play hero, but are you safe yourself? Because these criminals sometimes are armed. But I would say what you need to do in that situation where a crime is taking place and you are present, call the police, call the necessary authorities. Don't try to play hero, especially in a case where the criminals are armed. You might be the next victim.
Tau Nkomo, appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Tau Nkomo is a security expert, and he was giving us an update on what to look out for ahead of the silly season.